Hi there, welcome to the video on compression. It's something I got a lot of requests for, so I thought I would explain how a compressor works. And the compressor I'm using is the Oxford Dynamics, but all compressors pretty much have the same controls. They'll definitely have a threshold, an attack, a release, a ratio and a makeup. Some will have hold, some won't. What we've got here is two drum loops, one that's considerably lower than the other one. I'll just let you hear them. And just watch the output level. Now as you can see, the output level of the first one is down here. And the output of the second one is much higher. So what we're going to do is use the compressor to bring these both into line to control the level of the output. Now to do this, we're going to use the threshold and the ratio. Now the threshold pretty much means that anything that goes above the threshold amount will be compressed depending on the ratio amount. So if we put the compressor on, you'll see what we have here is this section here up to -30, which is the threshold, is everything below -30 won't be affected by the compressor. In fact, if we just put it to -20, you'll see the ratio is a bit better. Okay, so everything below -20 won't be compressed. Everything above -20, as you can see here, will be compressed at a ratio of 2:1. So what that means is, for every 2 decibels that goes above the threshold, only 1 decibel will be sent to the output. Now what that gives us is pretty much the dynamic range being halved. So for instance, on here the dynamic range at the moment is from -20 to 0 decibels. So there's a dynamic range of 20 decibels. So what this means is that a 2:1 ratio halves the dynamic range, hence -10. 20 divided by 2 is 10. So what you should see is that the lower drum loop shouldn't really be affected that much, because most of the output is below the -20 dB. However, the higher one should be compressed more, because most of it will be above the -20 decibels output, and what that in turn should do is bring them both closer together with regards to level. So let's have a look at that. So as you can see, that's helping us to bring the levels into some kind of equilibrium. We can then use the makeup gain to readjust for the loss and level, which you'll see here. This section here will show you how many decibels the overall sound's being compressed by, and then we can readjust the makeup gain to bring it up. So let's have a look at that. So if we raise it, so it's noticeably louder, but as you can see, the levels are being kept relatively close together. It's bringing the levels back to each other. Now, for the attack, release and hold sections, what I'm going to do is use a snare drum. Snare drums normally have a really good attack, which is very prominent in their sound. So now what we have, again, is a compressor. I'll just set these, I'll put that to -30 so that you can really see it working. And we'll leave these like this and like this for the time being. Now, what the attack does, the attack time dictates how quickly the compressor starts working after the signal goes through the threshold. So once the signal goes above 30 decibels, the attack tells the compressor how quickly it should start to compress when the signal breaches the -30 dB. So if we press play and add the compressor, okay, now if I, as you can hear, if I take the attack right off, you'll hear the compressor. In fact, let me just play the sound a little bit without the compressor. You can really hear the attack. Now if I put the compressor on, you can hear it compressing. Now if I bring the attack down, make it faster, you can hear the compressors pretty much acting on the sound immediately. Now that's good for keeping the compressor, keeping the sound under control, i.e. the peaks. But what you can hear happening is the attack of the sound is being unnaturally compressed. So it's softening it. Now if we turn the attack time up, you'll hear the compressor is slower to act on the sound when it goes above 30 dB. However, it lets more of the natural attack through. So you can hear it's a more natural sound. Now, what you can do is somewhere in the middle will give you a bit of both. So it will give you a medium speed for the compressor take and hold. It will still compress the sound, but it will also let some of the natural attack through. Now the release is pretty much, can be looked upon as the opposite. Basically the release is how quickly the compressor stops working after the signal goes below the threshold. So if we play it and turn the compressor up really high, the release up really high, you can see what's happening here. The compressor's kicking in and taking ages to stop working once it drops back below the threshold. Bring the release down. As you can see, it's releasing the compression really fast once it goes below the threshold. Now the hold feature, basically what the hold feature does is holds the compression no matter, regardless of the threshold amount, before it gets passed on to the release. So if I press play now, again, watch this section. Holds it for just a little bit, holds it for quite a bit, and passes it onto the release section. And as you can hear, it affects the sound quite a lot. So that's the basics of a compressor. I hope that helps you out some way, and enjoy the rest of the videos.